You know, the folks that are here tonight are friends of mine. They're Democrats, they're Republicans, they're Independents, they're from Vienna, they're from Fairfax, they're from Centerville, they're from Annandale, they're from all over Northern Virginia. Some of them, like me, grew up in Fairfax City, some grew up in Vienna, some grew up in Annandale, some grew up outside the United States. Some came here from the Middle East, some came here from Korea, some came here from Africa, some came here from all over the world. But they're here. And they're great people, and they're here because they want to work and they want to succeed, and because they believe in the dream that is the United States and it is also the Commonwealth of Virginia. The first thing that you have to do to be a successful public official, in my opinion, is you have to have new ideas. You can't be afraid of new ideas. And that doesn't mean you can't always just say no to people. You can't always just say, well, I'm opposed to this side, I'm going to react against that side. You actually have to bring forward new ideas. When I was running for state's head in 2007, the very first thing I did before I raised any money, before I tried to get any endorsements, was I actually tried to sit down and say, what's my vision for this state? What's my vision for this community? And I actually wrote that down. I had a plan I called Virginia 2.0, and I still keep it on my website, just so I knew kind of what was I thinking 4 years ago when I actually decided to do this. And I've tried to implement that as a public official. Now, I will tell you that with the recession, a lot of the things that we wanted to do, we couldn't do. But there were some things we were able to do. And one of the things I've wanted to do and tried to continue to do is, for example, to promote domestic energy in Virginia. Look at alternative means of energy. Look at using the geothermal systems. Look at using cellulosic biofuels. Look at using wind power off Virginia Beach. And look at alternative ways that we can create domestic energy in Virginia. It's also looking at ways we can be more efficient with our resources. How we can build houses according to codes that use less energy. How we can build government buildings according to codes that use less energy, that actually save taxpayer money by lowering utility costs. Looked at ways we can improve transportation. You know, one of the things I'm looking at for the next 4 years, assuming I get reelected, is actually building a bus rapid transit corridor down Route 66 that would be a model for the entire nation. Because we may not have the densities to support a fixed heavy rail line all the way out to Gainesville, but we do have the demand for transit in the 66 corridor, and we can do it more cheaply. Also looking at ways, for example, that we can better deliver government services. You know, Paige Johnson and Steve Maloney are two of my great friends, and that's a bipartisan team. And years ago, they came to me with the idea of having a DMV at Fairfax City Hall. And we opened up that local DMV, and that became a model for the entire state. And this year, at Paige's suggestion, I carried what I call the one-stop bill, which meant if you own a local business and you go in to get a business license, to register for sales tax, to register your vehicles, you can do it all at the same time, at the same desk, in the same transaction. You're making it easier to own a business. You're making it easier to open a business. That's helping people make money. These are solutions. Okay, that's number one. You have to have new ideas. Number two, you have to work as a team. You know, politics is a team sport. And Ronald Reagan said, you know, you can get a lot done if you don't care who gets the credit, okay? All my Democratic friends, I said it, all right? I quoted Ronald Reagan. But you can get a lot done. And there's no place that you can start more efficiently than working with your local governments. One of the things I try and do is talk to Sharon, talk to Mayor Seaman, talk to Rob, and just be available to them. That doesn't mean we're going to agree on every issue, but just be available to them, speak in their community, let them know what I'm doing, and try and have an open system. Because they, especially when I'm down in Richmond, they're my eyes and ears. And that means local governments. It also means working across the aisle. And this year I've been working on some initiatives with Delegate Tim Hugo, working with people in the Senate Republican caucus. And if we're not always going to agree, trust me, and there are some things we're going to dispute on. I'm going to get to that in a second. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to work across party lines in order to get things done, not just in Richmond, but also in Fairfax. And that's how the system works best. Now that brings me to my final point, and that is, you got to stand for something. And you got to have something down here in your heart that makes you who you are. So when people, they put the sticker on the car, they put the sign in the yard, they stand out at the polls in 20-degree weather at 6 in the morning, there's a reason why they do it. The reason why they do it is they believe in you, and you got to have the core values here. Every year I've been in public office, I have done what I thought was the right thing. And I've done the best that I could to represent this community. And when I decided to run for re-election, it's not automatic. You have to make a decision. I always think, who will stand with me? Because at the end of the day, the best endorsement you can have is not a bunch of groups. It's It's not a bunch of huge contributions, although they're important, trust me. But it's having people of quality that are willing to put their name beside yours and willing to stand with you. And I always think back to that scene in It's a Wonderful Life, where George Bailey comes back and all those people are at his house because they're to stand with them. And you guys that are here tonight, you're standing with me. And I want to let you know I appreciate it. And whether you gave me $20 or $1,000 or whatever, I want to let you know how much that means to me. So I'm going to be running for re-election this year. My slogan is the People's Senator, because I want everyone in this room to know I'm representing you, and I'm there to represent you, and I am available to you. And with your help, I will be re-elected in November, and I will be able to go down and represent this community for 4 more years. And I want to thank you again for being here this evening. Thank you.
One of the reasons I like Chad because of his integrity. He cares. Every time you call him, he calls you back. And he loves his community. He's there to help us.
And he knows all the issues, and he asks very good questions, and he cares for his constituency.
He's very responsive to what I've been interested in. He's pushed the legislation through the Virginia legislature that has encouraged me to believe that he supports the people of Virginia.
I'm a student at George Mason, and he wants to make college more affordable. I'm a big supporter of protecting our environment. Chap has a lot of great ideas about that.
Chap Peterson has always meant common sense for the folks here in the city of Fairfax.